Hello, welcome everyone to this encouraging conversation. Today I have with me Robin Clayfield, all the way over from Australia. Welcome, Robin.
Hi, Looby.
Robin's,
Great to be here.
yeah,
It's
thank
early
you.
morning for me, so excuse me.
Yeah, early morning for you and late in the evening for me. So, um, yeah, grateful for those two ends of the day and opposite ends of the planet that we can connect in these ways. Really beautiful to do that. And Robin, I've known about your work for decades and then had the pleasure of meeting you in 2015 in person, where we co facilitated the dynamic groups course. What's it? Dynamic groups, dynamic facilitation,
Dynamic groups, dynamic learning, yeah,
dynamic
what I
learning.
call it, or dynamic teaching and facilitation. I'm kind of transitioning to because it speaks it more clearly, or that'll be the name of my book where I write it all down. So, or
Oh, I
am writing it all down.
Yeah, brilliant. Oh,
Mm.
I'm really looking forward to that book because I think you know your work has really shifted how permaculture has been taught. And I know for me personally, it was the way permaculture was taught that really engaged me and pulled me in and made me go, yes, this is what you want to like keep doing and being engaged with. And it was definitely much more the process of how I was taught rather than the content that caught me in those early days, like 20 years ago. And I remember you had done the book teaching permaculture creatively, and I was aware of that. And in my early days of teaching, there was someone who actually said to me, he said, he had been on one of your courses in Australia, and he said, "You really remind me of Robin Clayfield, how you teach." And I was just so flattered and just like, "Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing!" And then to be able to co-teach with you on the dynamic facilitation course, and then on the social permaculture course, where we had like 50 people, didn't we, in 2015 before the
Yeah.
international permaculture convergence. That was just such pleasures, and an outcome that seems to be, it feels like coming full circle now to be talking to you in connection with producing the card deck, because that was one of your early inspirations, was using card decks in permaculture teaching. So could you start by sharing a bit about why it was that you decided to use cards in your teaching?
Yeah, thanks, Luby. Yeah, I love using creative interactive facilitation methods, and that I want to acknowledge Sky, who was my partner in the late 80s and 90s, because the bones of my work, the two of us co-developed that together. And people wanted us to start like teaching them, sharing with them how we were doing that more creatively, because permaculture design courses were historically mostly lecture based with some hands-on and design activities. And we taught our first one that way, and I felt a bit like I was disempowering people by lecturing and yeah, pretending to be the expert and everyone else being the student. And anyway, we got right into using creative interactive methods, and in the early 90s, we ran just a one-off, we thought, teacher training course, creative facilitation course, to help people understand how we were doing it because we had lots of questions. It's turned into my life's work, really. And in that course, I put out to the group one of the topics of a permaculture design course that I feel like I want something more creative. I took it into my sleep because one of the women there seeded this idea that if you seed into your subconscious very late at night, just before you go to sleep, in the morning you might wake up with the answer. So I went, okay, I'm going to put that into my sleep tonight. And I woke up seeing the cards, seeing the principles on one colored card as a simple buzzword, and then them having a explanation that was like simple, and then a more challenging or comprehensive definition and a graphic. So broken down into 3 cards. And so I took it back into the training room that day and said, "Hey, I've had this great idea." And we cut out cardboard, and half the group helped me do that. And we had a whole little brainstorm about it and came up with some ideas. And the very first permaculture principles card game was born. I've since revamped it much more recently using David Holmgren's principles and bringing in an optional fourth ethic of spirit care into permaculture, and also bringing in social permaculture. So mind maps of what would be happening in your group, organization, or training room if that principle was alive and well, and a photo for that. So just really wanted to bring the social permaculture in there too.
I
Thanks
love
for
that.
asking.
Yeah, it's great to hear the history and remember that these ideas that were here, someone had them at some point. There was a transition point from them not being used to being used, and yeah, it's so lovely to
Mm.
go back to that moment. And why do you think that cards are such an encouraging way of learning and interacting with information?
Personally, I really feel that they cater to everyone's learning style. And most teacher training courses these days have evolved to looking at people's different learning modes. They, not in the early days, but certainly I think our influence and others working in this way have helped people really acknowledge that we don't just learn by sitting in a room looking at a person talking about and hearing a person talking, which is how I went to school. It was just blackboard and chalk and someone talking. Um, and that people learn by doing things, by tapping into how they feel about something. The visual is really important. So a card game has auditory, visual, and kinesthetic woven into it, because you're obviously talking about it and explaining it. Um, you're looking at them, and hopefully they're colourful and got great images or photographs in them. And we're giving them to people in a way that they get to think about it for themselves and piece them all together to make sense of something. So card games can help break down a really complex topic and the elements that all go together and map them up. So you're also getting people thinking about it in small groups, possibly talking about it, doing something with it. So all of that is really helping, not just the learning, the information coming in, but it helps people retain the information a lot better as well.
Yeah, because it's tactile, isn't it? So it this layer of meaning and memory attached to it then. And also I find that because they're in cards, it taps into our intuition as well. So
Yeah.
there's another layer that comes, which maybe is connected to your spirit care as well, that
Yeah.
channel of creativity and intuition that and imagination
Mhm.
that the cards can tap into.
So it also brings out the child in us in a way, because the more we can be a bit more inquisitive and childlike and excited by the color and things like that, it's all supporting the learning.
I've got cards here. These are my cards in process, and I was wondering if maybe you wanted to pick one. Maybe you have a question for your book that you're writing at the moment, or some other project that you'd like to ask, and see. Let's see if what the oracle of the cards say. If you got a question, maybe.
Yeah, how to gather an editing and a publishing team together to
Okay.
gain more support.
Okay. So let's see what the cards do. How to gain more a team for editing and support. Ah, okay. We have embrace
Oh,
potential. Embrace
ah,
potential. Mm.
nice.
And I feel like there's another
Mm,
one calling as well that goes with that somehow. Okay. Step into the unknown.
ah, ah. So maybe I've been thinking of people close to me who might be like, I need a really good editor because I can be a bit wordy in what I do. And yeah, I've had some great folks proofread, but I think I need to go outside of my circles and yeah, put it out there. Maybe maybe I put it out there at the National Permaculture Conference that's coming up, or even outside of that safety net, beyond that, to someone from a different field. Yeah, hadn't thought of
Yeah.
that, so that's great.
Yeah, I like
Thanks,
that
Libby.
idea. That sort of like that. Okay, that's yeah. Sometimes we just need that spark of like, oh, okay, that gives a new possibility there, a new option.
Yeah,
The
no.
cards kind of help break some patterns, don't they?
I think I might actually, that's helped me think to have one more person to proofread it who's not been exposed to permaculture or creative facilitation before. Totally someone random that, yeah, just to give some feedback, and that will help me know that it is understandable by someone brand new to any of this.
Yeah, so it's maybe that they're
Mm.
unknown to the material as well as being unknown to you.
Yeah. Mm.
Lovely. Yeah, I'm wondering now if you'd like to share something about how you both give and receive encouragement, and that can be on a small scale, but
Mm.
also thinking about bigger scales as well, because you are very much a permaculture pioneer and a feminine leader in the permaculture movement and in your community. And so, there's a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage to be leaderful in the world at the moment, or sure historically
Mm.
as well. So yeah, how do you find that? How do you receive and give encouragement?
I was thinking about your questions around encouragement too, because yeah, I find courage through, I guess, through my just knowing and practice, if you will, of deep ecology, which is feeling very connected and part of our world and all of nature, and acting from that place rather than a place of fear for, like, our world's in a terrible state, and that's my motivation for acting. So I guess to right at that core, I do my best to act and be motivated by my connection to everything, and to deepen that connection. So to be in nature as much as I can. I chose in my very early years, in my early 20s, I guess, to plant myself like a little seed in a nurturing environment. I've not really had a mainstream life. I chose to, live in the bush and do permaculture. I've never lived the city, and I avoid them if I can. And that just supports my whole psychology, and it gives me the courage and a strong base, I guess, and strong roots to act in the world. And I receive encouragement from a lot of the people around me. I guess I've just, I wouldn't say blindly. I'm reasonably well informed, but I've just have always had a knowing of what I need to do. So I haven't questioned it too much, and I've just followed through with my vision, and I'm incredibly supported by people's encouragement. There's folks who just really lift me up. Delvin, who's supporting you with your funding for the cards, he's probably one of the biggest gems in the world, in my opinion. He just regularly gives me these really supportive messages and honors me and my work, and he lifts me up. And yeah, I guess I'd still be doing my work if I didn't have people like that encouraging me. And I do my best to do that with the people who come to my courses and trainings, to really be doing my best to lift people up. And I guess the tools and resources that I produce for teachers and group leaders help people have, like you have, the work that we've done is giving people tools so that they have some more ideas outside of themselves of ways to go forward, and have courage to step into a group and start facilitating, or step into, a government office to speak with someone, just with some more tools and inspiration, to step into the middle of a conflict and know that we can swim and find a compassionate outcome. yeah, so giving spaces for people to practice what they're learning and what they want to grow. So find all of that. It encourages me certainly to have spaces to practice. Yeah, at the moment, just to give a local example in my community here at Crystal Waters, which is a permaculture eco village. Um, there's a couple of my partner and a couple of others. We've got a little people care circle here. That's a bit of a working group for our cooperative here. And we offer a heart circle once a month here where people can just come one evening a month and just deeply share whatever they need to share. And we're also organising once a month, we have a restorative practice circle, which is a method of supporting where more than two people are affected by some kind of conflictual event. And just to have that kind of practice together. And we've got a wonderful friend in a town close by who is a national trainer in nonviolent communication, but also restorative practice. And we get her down running workshops on nonviolent communication and restorative practice. And so just that learning space gives me lots of encouragement. And we open that space for others to be able to learn and grow and practice. And my dynamic groups course is very much like that. It's, half the course is laying the foundation to give people the practice of facilitation and teaching and using creative methods and resourcing that. So, yeah, that's probably the biggest encouragement I can give and receive at the same time. It's spaces for people to learn and grow and practice.
Yeah, thank you. I love that. The sort of you covered so much ground there, from the little kind of messages that we can give each other on a daily basis, the what people around us or people far away, that of how they've touched us and supported us, or what they're doing and how we value what they're doing in the
Mm.
world, all the way to like these heart circles and other things that you've just mentioned there.
Mm.
So, yeah, really lovely. Um, how can you envision the cultural emergence toolkit, and in the shape of not just the book but the card deck? How can you envision that might support and encourage other people?
Well, it gives people tools for the journey and little guideposts along the way. I've noticed in my work that some people really need tools and they need um, a process. Some like I'm quite well planned, like I think things through, and something like your card game, it gives people the tools in a really visual, accessible way, and it's almost like the cards themselves can be the mentor, and by people dipping in where they feel to, either intuitively like picking one or just finding ones that actually suit their journey. Yeah, I guess your past question about how do we encourage people, mentoring and being there for people in that way has been a big part of my life as well. And I see, we can't be there one on one with every person, and it's great to empower others to do their own journey in their own way. And the cards are brilliant for that.
I love that, to yeah, be thinking that the cards are like this mentoring companion to everyone. That's, yeah, really lovely way of thinking about the cards.
To be in a group with them, you get the whole social interaction and the opportunity for even more emergence by people being able to play with them together. I haven't seen them yet, so I'm excited to see your little booklet or forward about it, of,
Yeah,
how to use them. That'll be great. I'm imagining you've done the drawings for them, the artwork. Have you done them yourself? They're beautiful.
I have, yeah, I have, and I haven't completed them yet. So that as I'm going through this process, so some more ideas are coming through, and yeah, I, so I've done, maybe sort of half of the artwork feels very solid and ready, and the other half is still emerging, and I'm playing with it. Yeah, yeah, and the
Oh, they're
Kickstarter is going to
beautiful.
give me the encouragement to keep going, because I know people really want them now.
Yeah, so we'll keep encouraging you, and yeah, the whole deck will encourage all kinds of people to engage with your material. So I see that the cards are a wonderful support for your People and Permaculture book and your Cultural Emergence book. It's one thing to read a book and all the lines on a piece of paper, and thank goodness for drawings and illustrations and your wonderful stories and that kind of thing in anyone's book. But to actually have tactile cards in your hands that you can play with, and it brings so much essence too to any piece of teaching or writing. You know, the cards can just they focus on one thing and really, really highlight it. So essence is such an important thing for delivering information.
Well, thank you so
Mm.
much, Robin. Before we go, is there any last thoughts you'd like to share with our listeners?
Oh no, just to thank you for giving what you give in the world. Yeah, it's so appreciated by me, and I know my participants in my courses because I've got your books in the room, and people are really thankful for it. And yeah, you've been able to put things in writing that have just never been in print before. So yeah, I so celebrate you and
Thank you.
celebrate your new cards. I can't wait. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Robin. Thank you. I feel really encouraged, and I hope everyone watching and listening to this also feels encouraged. Thank you, Robin. Bye bye,
Thank
everyone.
you.